Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm on behalf of media from the Muslim Polytechnic majoring in textile. In this video, I will material about the impact of democratic transition on tax revenue in Indonesia. Democratic change in the law run will have significant impact on tax revenue. Draw change in income per capita as well as grow domestic product. Indonesia can be responsible and relations
这一次我真的睡着了。
and the streets basket, including the title, estimation on the revenue side such as demographic related income tax. The last part of this paper concludes in Taiwan. In Taiwan case, comparable effects to the economy in terms of the higher growth rate of income per capita. This higher growth rate is a result of change in ideal structure due to a different of total population and work population growth. Similarly, Julie and Matthew, Godwin and Elhart also mark that situation in India and Pakistan. Identify in the basic ratio has a positive effect on the growth of GDP per capita. We find that demographic change is the key ingredient for the long-term growth
这一次我
of
真的睡
income
着了。
per capita. In studying the correlation between demographic transition and economic growth, there are several channels proposed in previous studies argue that demographic dividend is affected. The route to takes. First, it leads to a high growth of output per capita, strong accounting and behavioral effect related to government budget sovereign topper, and we find that population transition affects government budget in several items related to demographic change, such as health expenditure, methodology, and data. The literature indicates that there is a nexus between demographic transition and economy. However, let's study on how this demographic dynamic will affect revenue side of a country, improving income per capita as well as aggregate economy should support higher tax revenue. This study provides a simple framework or correlation between demographic transition and economy, as well as status background from revenue and expenditure series as presented in Figure 2. GDP per capita in Equine 1. Secondly, after the project's demographic population is available, the study needs to project the participation rate into labor force for each specific X core. Also, GDP per capita at the constant price and be calculated by utilizing the 2015 GDP per capita. To transform the constant GDP per capita in GDP at the constant value, this study simple multiplies GDP per capita value with the total population. First, calculation of revenue based on demographic and non-demographic variable. Article 21 and Article 25 by 29 of Income Tax. Article 21 is a tax revenue received from the employed taxpayers to some extent. Captures entrepreneurship tax revenue. In this study, it is assumed that there are. The next step is to calculate budget deficit, which is simply a gap between revenue and expenditure. This study assumes the projected productivity rates from 2016 to 2015 at a constant rate. There 0.6 other component proportion rate is estimated by using dataset projection of the population from Statistik Indonesia, which is relatively straightforward, while the least component participation rate is estimated as follows. The figures show that overall there will be a decreasing trend of participation rate from 2016 to 2024, followed by a rebound. Will figure 3 shows the trend of participation rate and the projection. In general, figure 4 depicts the same rate at a more detailed assigning several age groups after 3 components of income per capita are constructed. This study will be able to estimate GDP per capita and the GDP projection. Stage budgets. Project This paper only estimates revenue and expenditure. Thus, will financing is defined as merely residual of 2000 account. This study estimates the revenue side first, then continues to the expenditure side. In terms of revenue side, this study differentiates between demographic and non-demographic revenues. In particular, this study utilizes a simple regression of revenue for each article and the number of the labor force in natural logarithms value. Another components which are minor style included in the calculation. For instance, foreign visa revenue and government payment. For income tax, after duration and elasticity for each component of revenue can be estimated. The total revenue with the major components is presented in figures. 7. Figure 7 reveals that in terms of revenue composition, domestic tax revenue dominates over time, which is followed by the non-tax revenue. However, the grants are the smallest contributor on the revenue side. Next, 9. The state's budgets will under deficits up to the ratio of deficit to GDP will reach its peak in 2016 with or around 3.3 of GDP. The importance of extending and maintaining tax base. Hitherto, this study presents the dynamic of state budgets due to demographic transition by utilizing the 3P model in sequence. One has this section explores in more detail the estimation of tax revenue by income tax laws article based on demographic and non-demographic factors. The effect of demographic change to tax revenue is clearly present in figure 10. The figure reveals that initially tax revenue proportion from Article 25 by 29 personal taxpayers were relatively low compared to other articles. The top contributors were Article 25 by 29 with an Article 21. However, in the long run, Article 21 will take over the first position in contribution, which is due to demographic transition. Firstly, one way to increase tax revenue growth rates is by extending the tax base. Most of the developed countries have dominant role of personal taxpayers by around 8%. Similarly, starting from 2025, the participation rates will be more dominant. Thus, policies to maintain the expansion of the taxpayer should be prioritized. Secondly, increasing transpor- trans- transparency through tax expenditure reports. By providing more data or reports for public taxpayers will be able to monitor and evaluate current status of tax revenue as well as state budget. Based on current and future transition, Indonesia demographic this paper's main objective is to construct a correlation between demographic and the state's base, in particular tax revenue. In general, the study found that demographic bonus will be beneficial for Indonesia for several reasons. Firstly, the proportion of working age supports Indonesian GDP per capita grown up to 2025. There are several ways to express this, but strategies such as early formal tax education will providing clear report on tax revenue. The ROC's tax expenditure report. That was a little explanation from me. Less and more. Please forgive me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.